Coach, how hard was the first of this season?
It was difficult. The most difficult part, I think, was to continue to keep the faith that it's going to come together, because you can't see it in the moment. And there's a lot of frustrating moments, and you go, if we were just, and if you look at our scores, like I think Lancaster, we lost 47-44. South Florence, double overtime, being up, like just these little things, little mistakes we were making. And I think that's the one thing that kind of gave me hope throughout that start. Cause we started off fast, I think we started off like 6-1, and then the wheels fell off the car. And then so it was like, okay, what are we doing wrong? But I realized that it was little mistakes we were making, that if we just fix the mistakes, we'll be fine. And that's what kept me coming into the gym. That's what kept me going. And I think that's what was able to keep the team going, was I couldn't fall apart and be like, what are we gonna do now? Because then they would fall apart. You know, if I'm the person that's leading, I gotta make sure that they understand that we always have a chance. I just kept telling the entire season, let's just get to the playoffs.
I think that's one of the more impressive things about your job. A lot of coaches, the most successful coaches, look at themselves first. You looked at yourself, then you looked at your coaching staff, and after the second loss to South Florence, y'all did start talking.
We met. I had a meeting. I sent the text out and I said, hey, we got to meet. Because we, after the South Florence loss, we went in our locker room and our kids were defeated. Like, you know, we had a couple arguments going on. I had to tell one kid, I was like, man, if you ain't here, if you don't have no faith, you need to get out of this locker room. You know, that's really what we got to. And the frustration was bouncing off of everybody. And what I realized was, us as a coaching staff, we weren't highlighting what our kids do well. We were kind of just going what we always do. And you know, you can only cook with the ingredients you have. Like you know, you can't make steak if you only got chicken. So we tried to say, okay, what can Cam do? How can we use him better? And then what we realized was, hey, let's use DeAndre, because DeAndre is probably one of our most valuable players, and we have to find a way to get him involved. And so we sat down, coach staff, we met. And I'm talking about that meeting it was intense. I was I was on everybody. I said, everybody, we got to get it done. And I think we met for about 3 hours. And by the time we came out with a new way to attack our team. And the next day in practice, we got after it.
What got you into coaching? What made you want to be a coach?
When I was a kid, I was in a lot of trouble. And so I barely graduated high school. And I ended up.
Where'd you graduate from?
I graduated from Orange High School in Orange, New Jersey.
Okay.
Barely graduated, ended up, you know, doing a bunch of nonsense for about 3-4 years. And a guy in the community said, hey, do you want to come help out with some kids? So I was like, sure, you know, and I ended up going to practices, started with a little AAU type stuff in New Jersey. And I got a love for it, and it kind of made me want to go back to school, because I wanted to do something with myself, so that I could help other kids. And that's what got me into basketball, not wanting kids to go down the route that I went down. Not making bad decisions. It wasn't horrible decisions, but it was things that didn't set me up for success, and I wanted to make a change. And I think that sports is one of the ways that you can make a change in a young man's life. That's why the kids will even tell you, I don't emphasize winning, I just emphasize playing the game the right way and living your life the right way. If you do that, things kind of work out. And if you look at my resume here and even back in Denmark, you know, my biggest goal is kids graduating and then sending them to college. I know for Cam, it wasn't even, going to school wasn't even probably in his dream, a possibility, something that he could do. But now he's going on visits where they're, you know, paying for, you know, when was the last time he was on a plane to even go somewhere? You know, and this is the reason kids like him and Trey and Karan Gray and all the kids, Ozante Fields back in Denmark, all the kids I've been able to help is the reason why I got into coaching. I think it's a great vehicle to keep them in the gym, to keep them, and then I could talk life. I could speak life into them and what their possibilities of living could be.
Coach, down the road, I know it's a tough question to ask because down the road is down the road, but right now after the season, what do you think you will take? What lessons have you learned from this season for down the road?
Anything is possible. And you know, it's a cliche that people say all the time. People don't really believe it. I really believe that anything is possible, and I told him that. I said, this: if I didn't learn anything else this season, I learned that anything is possible if you just. We have to be willing. You said it earlier just now. You have to be willing to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I'm not doing a good job, and I have to do something different. And it's only when you reflect and look upon yourself that you see your own flaws and you're able to hold yourself accountable that you can change those things. And I think that's just life. That's what I learned about life in this season was you have to hold yourself accountable because the kids are just doing what we asked them to do as coaches. So if you're not winning or your kids aren't doing what you want them to do or whatever it is, you gotta look at yourself first and figure out what am I doing that I need to change to get these kids to be successful. And that's what I learned, just reflection, internal reflection.